Yo, 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 what it do, everybody? This your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. I'm back at it again, you guys. Welcome to the 11:30 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. What's goody? Happy Friday. Hope everybody Friday is going well. The weekend is here. You know what time it is. It's not 7:30. It's 11:30, man. It's time for the podcast show. We live here, man, on Instagram, X, Twitch, Facebook, and also the 11:30 Podcast YouTube channel. So if you're new to the podcast and if you haven't done so already, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. Definitely do me a huge favor. Hit the like button, like it, leave a comment, and share it. And also, don't forget to follow the 11:30 Podcast on all social media platforms. All right, man. Now that's out the way. Like I said, time to talk some pro wrestling. It's time to get into the show. But on this week's show, you guys, man, I got a special guest, very special guest. He's the host of the Whip Dog podcast, man. I'm going to be bringing him in, man, and we're going to be chatting all things wrestling. It's going to be fun. My guy, Desean Whip Dog Whipple, for real, man. I had him on a podcast a couple of years ago. It's a great time to bring him back on, pick his mind about everything that's going on in wrestling with the whole road to WrestleMania. The Rock is coming back, and much, much more. So we ain't gonna waste no more time. We're gonna actually bring on my guy right now, standing by. Whip Dog, what's going on with you, my guy?
Man, what's the word? How you feeling, Brody?
I'm feeling blessed, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling wonderful, man. Hey, it's time to talk some wrestling, man. I'm excited.
You sure you want to do this? Because I got some feelings right now. All this mess going on in the world, dog. But we gonna talk pro wrestling. Shout out to 11:30 Podcast, fam.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yes, we are, man. We're gonna definitely dive into some wrestling. Last time I had you on, man, it been some time. Been some time since I had you on, and you've been doing your thing, man. You got into the media work and stuff, man. I've been seeing you on my television actually at some of these press conferences after the WWE Premium Live events, man. I believe it was the last one. I believe it was Survivor Series.
Yeah,
Was it
man.
Survivor Series?
It's been blessed up, man. I started the podcast during the pandemic, like a lot of people did. Just started originally with just doing a couple interviews with some of the older wrestlers. Then we started talking about some of the current product. And man, it's been expanding like crazy, dog. They came to Detroit, that's my hometown, for SummerSlam. And I got to cover all of that. And I'm gonna tell you, when I got that approval email, your boy was going crazy. I'm trying to hold it in. You know what I'm saying? I was acting like an 8-year-old, but it was a good time, fam. I got to do that, all those events. I mean, I got to do the press conference. I got to do a couple closed events that were just for media. They did an event for for the schools here. They brought in like 200 kids. I got to interview Bianca Belair, Montez, a lot of those guys for that. And then later on, like you said, I got to do Survivor Series, man. I got to be in a press conference with that. And I even got to talk to the man who's going for the world title right now, even though he shouldn't be, because it should be the Tribal Chief against the Rock. But we'll talk about that in a minute. I got to talk to the guy, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, man. So it's been a good run.
Hey man, that's what's up, man. That got to be a good feeling. Explain that. How was that feeling waking up and getting that email and you was like, "Yo, man, hey, I'm at the press conference, man."
It's funny you said that because I remember I was at the crib. The email came through. Now I had applied before and they said no. So you get an email from WWE Communications. Okay. I see the headline and it says SummerSlam. You ever looked at the email and you're like, oh, they about to play me again. So I read it. It says your media credentials has been approved. I had to look at the email like 8 times to make sure I really read it correctly. Because I thought I misread it. You feel me?
Yeah.
So then I done even screenshot it. I done sent it to my mama. Now, you're not supposed to really pass out that information, which I shouldn't be saying it on air, but I don't care. I said, Mama, look at this. Do it say what I think it says? She's like, yeah, it says approved. And like I said, for it to be in my hometown, in Detroit, the first one they approved before was awesome. Where they used to have an arena here called Joe Louis Arena, historical arena. They tore that down, and now they're at the bigger arena, Ford Field, the Little Caesars Arena. But just doing that, man, and being literally 8 minutes from where I grew up at, doing media, that was an amazing thing, dog, because I think I told you before, I'm a former independent pro wrestler myself, but I never made it to the WWE at that level. But just being able to be in that space with them, oh my God, it was amazing. Then get to kick it with some of the great podcasters, Chris Van Vliet and Malcolm Muscle, who was just behind CM Punk going crazy last night at XL Kickoff, man. It was just a good feeling, man. And you know, I made a post right after it happened saying, when you go from being a fans of these peoples to colleagues, dog, it just was an amazing feeling, bro.
Hey, that's what's up, man. I know the feeling had to been amazing because, like I said, when I saw you on the television, man, you were like someone else was asking a question, and I was like, hold up, wait a minute, come on, like I know that guy right there, and it was another guy who I did the podcast with. He was on as well, Sir Wilkins from the Java Kids
Yeah, so yeah.
podcast. And but when I saw you, I said that's Whip Dog right there, man. I know your phone blew up right after
Oh
that. And hearing from a lot of people you probably haven't heard
man.
from in a while though.
They was giving me all types of messages, like congratulations, good job. Other people was like, dog, how'd you do it? Put me on. I'm like, baby, it don't work that way, family. I wish it did. But the one thing is I got a couple guys that I talked to, kind of like I call them like my media podcast mentors. Shout out to my boy
Okay.
Rob Hockman. He used to work for WWE back in the '90s, creative guy. But he said the one thing that he liked what he saw with me, as you can tell, I got a certain energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
turned up. He said they let you be whipped. They did not try to turn you down. In the press conference, in your interviews, a lot of times if you see them press conferences, guys are like, hello, my name is such and such, and I would like to
Yeah.
ask Triple H. They're very robotic because you can tell they're nervous. He was like, they let you be whipping and then freeze you from that. And he said, that's an amazing thing, dog. And people going to always remember that. So salute to you and never stop doing what you're doing. I took that word to heart, man.
Oh, okay, okay. Who's the sort of the favorite person to sort of sit down and talk to for 5 to 10 minutes or so?
Ooh,
Because I know
man,
you
because
said
that
you talked to Cody Rhodes though. So who
yeah,
was one of your
he
favorites?
was at the actual press conference, but we did like a media scrum where you had a chance to talk to people as long as you wanted to. Man, Otis, the Alpha Academy is amazing,
Otis.
fun.
Okay.
Chad Gable, they are hilarious. They really fun, man. Had a good time with them. And there's a spot I still got the clip on my page where me and LA Knight have a back and forth. I'm at the press conference and I say something to LA Knight about, he's like, hey, you better turn that bass down. And I'm like, hey, I just want to talk to you. And so we had this little back and forth exchange, and it was really dope, man. So I got us at LA Knight, but also the Alpha Academy. Really, man, everybody was cool. Maxine Dupree, because sometimes they give you like the mid card to lower tier guys, but
Yeah.
they get to show a whole nother level of energy when they're in that situation. Because it's not scripted. You ask them what you want, and then they get to ask what they want. And the thing
Mm.
about it is, man, my podcast has grown to a level. Now I got other people on the network doing shows. My boy Najee Hubbard, shout out to him. He's doing a show called NXT with Najee on the Whip Show podcast. And every Thursday his show airs because he's actually live. He lives in Tampa. I mean, he lives in Florida. So he goes to the NXT show every Tuesday. So he's getting a
Okay.
first-hand experience. And WWE allowed me to send him down there in my spot because I couldn't make it down to the Royal Rumble. And he did interviews representing the Whip Show podcast down there, man. So I got that on the page. He got to interview Nia Jax, the Alpha Academy, Maxine Dupree, what's how you say it's Tawazaka? You know what I'm talking
So
about.
yeah, Tuzawa, yeah,
Yeah,
Akira
Tozawa. He
Tuzawa,
got the interview.
yeah.
He got the Bronson Reed, a lot of the people, man. And even with him, I was glad that I was able to pass that on to him because he called me that night, was like, Whip, this was the best moment I ever had in my life. I thank you for that. Because I know, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. When we brothers, black men, I'm saying it flat out, get into this space, they already think like, come on, man. You doing wrestling, dog. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
out of all things, you
Yes.
doing, but then when you do
Yes.
it, and then actually do it to a high level,
Hmm.
I had to share that with somebody else, man. And I be able to give it to my guy, Najee. Now he could pass the information because, and I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was listening to Chris Van Vliet. You familiar with him, the
Yes.
podcast?
Yes. Yes.
He
Yes. Love.
interviewed the coach, and the coach said, and that's funny. I told the coach about the Najee thing, and coach responded on Twitter. But coach was saying, I didn't know the guy or anything. I mean, knew of him, but I didn't know coach. He says on Chris Van Vliet's show, it is our job if we get ourselves into the space to also pass this information on to other people so they could grow. Because they could go to school for 4 years for broadcast journalism, but that's a book. That is a book teaching. They will not know how to interact with different people, how to network. He said, there's guys out there now that have been doing broadcast journalism, went to college, and they can't get a job nowhere. They're not even doing what they want to do at all, even having fun with it. He said, you teach them boys to have fun first with this. Because you might not ever make $1. If you do, that's a
Right.
blessing. But if you don't, you still should have fun with what you're doing. But understand it, just like me and you talking. You're not from Detroit. I'm not from where you are. But we met, we connected, learning how to network with everybody, dog. And that's why I like to pass that game on to anybody if I can.
Hey
They
man,
probably hate me because I let way too many people in the back door. You know, they try to lock the door on us. Hey, I go to the back door. Hey, come on in, man. Come on in.
Hey man, look at I know what you exactly talking about. I spoke on that several times, even with the commission guys, just about supporting one another and helping one another come up because a lot of us, especially from our community, would definitely keep all the information in and think we doing the next person really no good or doing yourself good. So I think that was awesome. You said you didn't make it to the Royal Rumble. How did you like it though? Did your person win? Did your pick win?
I actually, you know what? I used to pick somebody for the Royal Rumble, but I choose not to anymore because I think it's just like sports. How the Detroit Lions lost, man. I think when you get too deep into it,
Oh,
it's hard for you to watch it as a fan. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna just watch the Royal Rumble. I'm not gonna pick anybody. I'm gonna let it play out. You know what I mean?
okay.
And I was content with Cody winning until he tried to block my boy Rock from until he tried to block my boy Rocky from being in the main event of WrestleMania, dog.
Okay, okay. And since you just brought that up, we're gonna actually just dive right into it though. The road to WrestleMania kicked off actually a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, at the Royal Rumble, and we've been seeing The Rock over the last couple of weeks. He's now on the board of TKO, and he appeared on SmackDown and on Monday Night Raw, and said some stuff about how he should he sit at the head of the table, and this all been brewing for some time. Even though he came out on the Pat McAfee show, said what he said, and had all the wrestling, the whole wrestling community, just in uproar. It's like, damn, why would he say that? And if that's so, can we get this Rock versus Roman Reigns match? And it was a big possibility we may not get it because also you got Cody Rhodes here, who's on a journey to finishing his story. And before I ask you about The Rock, because I think you're a big fan of The Rock, just as well as I am, how do you feel about Cody Rhodes and what's going on with him right now?
Okay, so let me say this seriously. I do like the American Nightmare. I like Cody. I think he's doing this thing. I think he's performing at a level that he has not in ages. I think he's even better. Even when he was in AEW, he wasn't at this level. So I do like
Okay.
his work. I said on my personal podcast, I would like him to smile a little bit less. I understand he's trying to connect with the young babies and all that, but in some of these situations, you got to show in your face how serious it is. With that being said, the whole finish the story thing, I get that as well. And if The Rock doesn't come back, I would have been totally content with him going against Roman in a part two. You know, my problem is two things. I do think Rock and Roman is the biggest match. They could make that the biggest match in WrestleMania history. I do think that. The
Okay.
problem I have also though is, and he referenced it on Pat McAfee's show, the Cody crybabies.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the fact that I understand we as fans want what we want. The problem is if the creative changes the narrative every time we start crying, what happens the next time we do it? What if we get
Mm,
mad and say, oh my God, we want Chad Gable to win the championship? So now Chad wins tomorrow. There's still I just don't agree with. That's the part I don't agree with. Because a lot of times when people make all this noise on the internet, whether we want to admit it or not, it's the vocal minority. There's a lot of people that don't even be on that internet. They already said, for the casual fan, the Rock shirt went back to number one sold. You know what I'm saying? The merchandise
mhm.
sales. At WrestleMania, there will be 60,000 people, whatever, and 10,000 might be internet fans. But they're going to be 50,000 that are kids, mamas that just brought their kids, you know what I mean, that don't know nothing about well, on the internet, Cody Rhodes said he had to finish the story. So I just
Yeah.
think we got to be very careful on changing the whole story just because people don't like it. Because
Okay.
as
Do
we
you?
know, fans,
Mhm.
they so fickle, dog. Daniel Bryan said it before. We're so
Yes.
fickle. I mean, listen, even when Cody was at AEW, they loved his ass. Excuse me, they loved him until they did when he did get up. Now we don't like him, and that's my other thing. Let's say Cody wins the title, he finishes the story. What happens the next day?
Hmm.
Now, do you treat him like y'all treated John Cena? Oh my God, Cody's winning all the time. I don't like Cody anymore. Now we got to change it again. That's my only
Hmm.
problem with it, man.
Look here, I said that a couple of weeks ago how fickle the wrestling fans are is that when it and I seen something on social media and it was the best comparison. It's like having like this best meal, this great meal, and it's like, man, you know what? I want this steak, but it's like, well, you know what? I don't want it right now, but I still want it, and I think that's how wrestling fans are,
Mhm.
especially when it came to the whole Rock and Roman situation where it was pointed to like they were going to have this matchup at WrestleMania, and fans just blew it out of proportion. You just blew it up, and I want to say Cody Rhodes though, although he won the Royal Rumble. He gave up his spot though, so like that was the thing that was confusing to me with the press conference and everything with Cody Rhodes though. Cody Rhodes came out there, gave up his spot to The Rock, and now you want your spot back. I mean,
Right.
technically, I know he is the Royal Rumble winner, but you know,
So there's a lot of there's something I think about that too. I agree. He gave a spot up. Now a lot of people are upset that he gave a spot up. To me, I'm a big believer in let the story play out. It's
mhm,
just like if you read a book. You read the
mhm,
book, you can't be mad. Oh, it's the first 2 pages. You got to read the
yeah,
whole book. You know what I'm saying?
uh,
But so when it first happened, I wasn't really upset because I'm still thinking in the back of my mind. Well, now he's gonna. He already said that. Let's break it down. I'm gonna take everything from you. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's crazy. That means dog not only want the belt, he want to destroy the bloodline. I actually had put
mhm,
a scenario on my page about how he could take the whole how the whole bloodline could go down, where they end up
mhm,
not holding them down, not holding Rock down. I mean Roman down. I thought, okay, the next day he'll challenge Seth. And then he goes out there, doesn't challenge Seth. Now it is getting crazy. And then you never actually said why you gave the Rock your spot. Okay, I get it. Fast forward to the press conference that it really wasn't a press conference. It was like one of them UFC hype parties. It wasn't no
yeah.
press conference. Excuse me. Hello, this is Deshaun Whipple from the Whip Show podcast. That was just a pep rally, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A WrestleMania pep rally. But there, he was the last guy to come out, and he still never explained why he gave it away. So now you just want it back? Like he totally ignored the fact that he gave it to him in the first place.
Yeah, I
That
think
now I
so
do agree.
too.
That was weird. That was weird, dog.
Yeah, I think they backed themselves into a corner. My guy Brian said, I think they backed themselves into a corner when they initially made the decision for Cody Rhodes to give up his spot. I understand. They built the guy up, have him finish his story, and the big question was, does he need to finish his story at WrestleMania? And a lot of people was like, well, no, but yeah. And because obviously WrestleMania is the big payoff though. And he wins the Royal Rumble back to back, first time since Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he's about to go on to WrestleMania to face Cody. And like you said, and I had this conversation several times in a way where it's like, then what with Cody Rhodes after
Right.
he wins the Royal Rumble? That happened with a lot of people. Like, for example, Bianca Belair is one of them where she was just winning and winning and winning. And it's like some of the wrestling community, the wrestling fans were turning on her because it was like, okay, well, she's not taking no L, she's not taking no losses. So Cody Rhodes is getting now after this thing with The Rock making his intertwined and all of this, it made Cody Rhodes an even bigger star. So
Yes.
I see them sort of doing them Cody how they did John Cena.
See, I'm exactly, and that's what I think also, and that's what happened to him in AEW. I mean, it was the same thing. They loved him at first, then all of a sudden they couldn't stand Cody. Cody didn't change who he was; they just didn't like him anymore. And I don't know, man. How many times? Think about this. How many times did it take Roman before he actually beat Brock Lesnar convincingly? 3, 4. He
Yeah.
didn't. He didn't beat. He didn't beat Brock off bail. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, he didn't. It took him some time.
And even with you asked about to finish the story of WrestleMania. I understand the concept of it. I understand the marketing of it. But let's be truly honest. Wrestling is a 365 day a year event. There is no break in wrestling. So in actuality, you never really finish a story. It's always continuous. You know what I'm saying? I know that's semantics, but I don't know, dog. Like I said, if he wins the WrestleMania, then what? What happen? Who's he go against the next day?
Mm,
And
yeah, I mean,
I know you gonna go there anyway. But the way that I trash Seth, if he beats Seth, now he got the belt. Roman got the belt, and they both looking at each other with a title. I said I'm gonna take everything from you. Now I'm gonna take your belt too. Come on, man. You
now,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, how you like that idea? I mean, they just last year brought in the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, even contemplating the idea of having Cody Rhodes take on Seth and win, and then go on and say, you know what, Roman, I want to take your belt too. And we had a unification spot once again,
I would like that, man. That's what I would, even if it wasn't for unification. Because I remember years ago, WWE did like a battle between Raw and SmackDown and the champions or something. Booker
though.
T was in, if you remember that. And he just for supremacy. The way they doing poor Seth Rollins. I mean, did you watch the whole kickoff yesterday? The dog
Yeah.
was just standing there. I mean, why he was just standing? He was just standing there. And then, okay, the Rock smacks Cody. Why in the world was Seth help Cody fight them? He ain't got nothing to do with that. He don't even like Cody himself. You know what I'm saying? It was they doing and for them to sit there and call his belt the second rate belt and all that in his face. You know what I mean? It's one thing if Roman says it while he's on SmackDown and Seth is on Raw. He's in his face saying, "Man, get out of here with that little second rate belt. Go over to the losers bracket." And Seth not even jumping on him. Seth should have jumped on him for that. You know what I mean? Not because he smacked Cody.
Yeah, I was thinking Seth Rollins. I mean, not he don't need the rub, but I feel like with this big story revolving around Rock, Roman, and Cody, and Seth Rollins being out there, I think that was just to me, that was just mind blowing because we have never seen The Rock and Seth Rollins have any type of
Yeah,
interaction. The last time we seen, well, we've been hearing Seth Rollins been saying, stuff about Roman Reigns and how he's a part timer. He doesn't really wrestle. I defend my title more than he does. But, Seth Rollins, kind of started it. It doesn't make you the better person to just keep on going at it. But Seth Rollins started it,
yeah,
by saying, "Yo, man, I've been working my ass off for the last 365 days. Cody, you've been right here with me." And Roman has showed up maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 times out of the last maybe 6 months defending his title. But I don't think it really does no hurt to either guy, knowing they're very established and what they've
yeah,
done with the championship, saying what they saying to one another. Obviously, these is former, Shield members and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think Seth Rollins, man, I don't know what's his plans because it seemed though he was going to take on uh, CM Punk at
yeah.
Mania, but things
Perfect. Yeah.
changed.
Now let me ask you a question real quick. I
Cool.
noticed this yesterday. Hey man, how big is the Rock? Or did Roman Reigns shrink? I mean, dog looked like his little brother, man. Did you see how big he looked compared to Roman? And Roman is not a little guy, man.
Yes, yes, that is a great question because I was looking like, no, The Rock is a big guy, man. I follow him on IG. He always clanging and banging, so I just like, man, The Rock is just a big guy. And standing next to Roman, it did make Roman look like his little brother. Made him really look like it though. But yeah, yeah, Roman always the guy who looks bigger than the next though.
Yeah, I was like, man, and then when they were walking, and I mean, it almost looked like Rock just snatched the head of the table from him, and like now you follow me, and I think that's gonna be part of the story as well, down in the next 50 whatever amount of days.
Okay, okay. My guy Devin says Seth Rollins has a major part in this story, and I would love to see how this unfolds though, and seeing how Seth Rollins has. I'm not saying he does, but seeing how he really has this major part in the story. Obviously, him and Roman, like I just mentioned, was at each other's throat. Like, man, I'm working more days than you. I should be in the spot that you. I should have some main event, spots, and obviously his history with Cody Rhodes. And the relationship with him and The Rock it didn't seem too much though. But hey, I would definitely love to see how that goes, man. Brian B, man, what's going on? What's going on? All right, Whip Dog, man, you mentioned it, The Rock popping up at the press conference, or the Rock at the press conference along with Cody Rhodes and others though. Man, the Rock showed a bloodline tree of his entire
Yes.
family, and there was some very interesting names up there, as far as like Jacob Fatu, I believe he's
Mhm.
in MLW, and obviously the Usos, and one of the other cousins, I believe, that's in another independent promotion though. But all of this though, it seems like we're going back to heel Rocky though,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hollywood Rocky to be exact though, and how do you feel about this sort of Rock and Roman tag team? Like, I don't know if I want to say a tag team, but I don't know the right word because
I mean, see, I was in my little group chat. I called them the NBO, the New
then
Bloodline Order, the New Bloodline Order. Man, I think they almost restarted the Bloodline yesterday. If you ask me, I mean, the energy was there, and by him showing that tree, even though, like you said, some of those guys aren't in WWE. Zilla Fatu, Jacob Fatu, excuse me. That shows that The Rock was letting them know I got access to any one of the Samoans out there in the Samoan dynasty. Do not do
mm,
it. You don't want to do it, Cody. That is not where you want to go.
mm,
So with that being said, like I said, I really think that it is a whole new start for the bloodline. One thing that Rock has been saying that I think a lot of us been glazing over is that he said from day one, I like to do long term booking.
mm,
And who knows? It might have been his plan from day one to only give us a sample of Rock and Roman now, just to show that they exist in the same universe.
I
Like, because
thought
at
of
first
that.
at first
Yeah.
they would talk, but they were never the same space. It was like DC and Marvel. But then when they were
Hmm.
together, it was like, okay, they both exist in the same universe, but maybe it could be
Yeah.
just a drop. And then, because if you remember, we all talk about it, Cena and Rock. They actually tagged up before they had that against Miz and R-Truth before they went
Yeah.
1-on-1. So who knows? I'm not saying they're gonna have a tag match. They probably will somewhere down the road, but it might
I
not
feel
have
like
been
they will.
ever. Yeah, it might not have ever been the intention for them to go against each other at this WrestleMania. But this WrestleMania showed that they are both in the WWE together, and now they're gonna grow the story down the road.
Yeah, and afterwards, now when seeing all of this, play out from the whole scuffle at the end, and seeing how The Rock creeped up and saying, you know what, because it gave me a little deja vu in a way, because you know how Roman will always talk to the Usos like, well, you
Uh-huh.
gonna let them talk like that too about our family? Like if he talking about you like that, he talking about me like that. So I was like, hold up, wait a minute. I'm seeing little shades of Roman Reigns here. And he stepped up and then smacked the crap out of Cody Rhodes though. Like, didn't see that coming. So
I didn't either.
it made me feel like, damn, we getting this Hollywood Rock. And my guy Brian B from Commission Talk said he thought it was an amazing idea, because they, like I said, they backed themselves into a corner, which a lot of things were confusing though.
Yeah,
A lot of people was like, well, we were thinking that we are going to get The Rock and Roman at next year. Then we sort of get the confrontation. We think it was going to happen this year, blase, blase. And I think I agree with you on them, doing the long game, the
yeah.
long story game, and just building it up. I'm hearing The Rock brought in, some of his writers and stuff. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's going to play out. They probably, he won't win. I mean, they won't have a match at this year's WrestleMania, which either Roman choosing The Rock at the press conference was a curveball as well too. So
yeah,
I'm not sure where they're going to go with this, but I do agree with you though. I think they might have the big payoff somewhere down the line.
yeah. And Rock is so good, dog. Like when you look back at some of his interviews that he's been doing, even in public, like on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith, he kind of been saying this. We just didn't pay attention. He says,
Mm.
even when he was back on that other show with Pat McAfee, what did he say? I'm talking about not this past week, before. He was like, with
Uh,
all due respect to the other wrestlers, me and Roman is the biggest match. Well, that's in a way, even though he said with all due respect, that was very disrespectful for the guys that's already in the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So he was already, when you think about it, dropping little hints of heel rock. He on ESPN saying the same thing, like, you know what, Stephen A, thank you. However, and I'm not saying the guys in WWE aren't good now, but when I get there, it becomes global. You see what I'm saying? All that is
Mhm.
like taking shots at the current WWE roster. And that was before we even realized that they were going to go here.
Mhm. Yeah, man. He did. He definitely took shots at it. Triple H even mentioned, I believe they said something on their Instagram, WWE. Triple H is going to be on SmackDown tonight,
Yeah.
may address this situation. But, Hunter said, Rock said it in a way that it's a new WWE and, they're going and definitely in a different route. Before we move on, though, I got to ask your questions, though, on this whole ordeal with this new WWE in a way, and they move into Netflix and so much positive stuff with WWE lately. Besides
I
the
actually,
Vince McMahon.
yeah, I'm about to say, I actually did a show earlier today. And if you guys check it out, go to my page, the Whip Show Podcast. I interviewed a former WWE staffer, Brian R. Solomon, and we kind of talked about the allegations of everything going on. That was earlier today. Check it out. But with that being said, the one thing we talked about on that show was the WWE is an amazing at being able to spin stuff. I mean, with
Mhm.
all this chaos going on over here on the right hand side with The Rock and Triple H and Roman, and then the Netflix deal and all that on the right hand side, we done forgot about the allegations on the left side. You dig what I'm saying? Almost like a magician. So with that being said, that Netflix deal, I mean, WWE already was making money on top of money on top of money. But that Netflix deal is going to be a game changer. I mean, first of all, when they had the WWE Network, it already was a game changer. Then they
Yeah.
signed that massive deal with Peacock. They signed a big deal with Fox. Now they got re-upped by USA to take SmackDown on the USA, and they're going to be on CW. I mean, I don't even know if you can put that much money in a bank account, dog. Like it's going to be a game change. It's going to make everybody else change. They just announced. I don't know if you saw that. ESPN, Fox, and the WB are going to have a streaming service together. Now, if we know that WB is connected to AEW. AEW is not part of that deal because let's be honest, the AEW see what WWE gonna do. They're probably gonna have their own streaming platform in the next 2-3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
that Netflix deal's gonna change the game, man. I mean, Triple H should be proud of that stuff. Now, if he can
Yeah.
keep Vince McMahon dirty ass away from all the other BS, he'll be all right, man.
Yeah, man, definitely keep the whole Vince McMahon stuff away from that. Keep away from everything else that's going on, though. Definitely. But like how you said, man, it's definitely big business for WWE. The streaming, like that's what everyone is doing. Whether you're watching, Prime, Netflix, whatever app you're doing. So, I think that I thought that's what they were going to do maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little 10 years too
Yeah.
early with the network and having Raw on the network. But hey, what was it, 5 billion, $10 billion for
Woo.
Monday Night Raw? Hey, look at that's worth it though. That's worth it. But
And
speaking
it
of,
really helps. It really helps real
yes,
quick that they got The
mm-hmm,
Rock on the board. You know,
mm,
because they got a wrestling guy. Him and Triple H are on the board with
oh,
TKO and UFC. I mean, so if TKO ever try to do something where like, well, we ain't gonna worry about wrestling, we're gonna worry about UFC. You got two people that could always veto it. You know what I'm saying? And fight for the WWE. So I think that's good too, dog.
yeah, definitely. I think it's great that especially guys like The Rock and Triple H. We see Shawn Michaels with NXT, but guys who were very established. You see it in other sports too, as far as like football, basketball, where you're a very established player, athlete, and they bring some contribution back into the sport, being a coach or
Uh-huh.
general manager or whatever like that. So I think that's amazing though. But speaking of big business though, and we were just talking a little bit about AEW. AEW over the last couple of weeks, they're trying to regain a little bit momentum because WWE is on fire. I think the main reason that AEW momentum lasted as long as it did because of how I'm not gonna say how bad, but WWE wasn't as great, to some other people though. But I'm speaking of big business. They Tony Khan came out there and announced a big announcement that AEW Big Business next March. It's going to be a big show. Word is going around that it's probably going to be Sasha Banks. Though, question to you though: do you think AEW needs Sasha Banks? Do you feel like
Woo.
that it would help their roster?
I don't think it can hurt. Um, the problem, and I had this conversation with a friend earlier. He was saying he doesn't think Sasha Banks moves the needle like that, and I disagree.
Mm,
But this is where I think the problem comes. And tell me if this makes sense to you. I
okay.
think Sasha Banks moves the needle, but I do not think Mercedes Moné moves the needle. Do you understand what I say when I mean that?
I do understand what you're saying though. Real fast before you go on though, because when she made her debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think a lot of people were excited to see her. She haven't been in the limelight in the wrestling, world for a minute. And when she made her debut, people were excited. But it just felt like, something was off though.
Yeah.
And obviously she was going by her real name, Mercedes Monet, and no longer Sasha Banks. But yeah, Sasha Banks I definitely agree. She moves the needle, and I don't know about Mercedes Monet. It's the same way about Adam Copeland.
Whew, exactly. Exactly. I know we can say it's the same person, but that Edge was a whole package. You know what I'm saying? It's and the only guy I've seen that really been changing the game, that was Zack Ryder actually became better as Matt Cardona. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm,
everybody else, it doesn't seem to work that way, man. I don't know. It just that whole Mercedes Monet package. We like the legit boss. You know what I mean? That music, that energy she had. I just don't know if that Mercedes Monet will really do anything. I think she'll come in there. The first match, everybody go crazy. But by 2, 3, 4 weeks, she'll be just another AEW female wrestler.
mm,
And she's going to
man.
be pissed because Tony Storm is the one. Timeless Tony Storm is the one. And she's going to try to figure out how is this girl killing everybody else. Because she's the money. She's money.
Yeah, she is. She is. I personally like the gimmick, and I think it's very entertaining. They just brought in Deanna Perrazzo, so in adding Mercedes Monet into the mix, it sort of throws a lot. Not gonna say a lot, but it throws some other women off of track of trying to probably go after the women's championship or not. So, but I think Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Monet is definitely, not necessarily, I'm gonna say big business, it's definitely big business for them, but I don't know if it's gonna really do as much, same like I said with Edge going over
Right.
to WWE though. One other person though I feel like that can possibly do something though, because Sasha Banks was a really big star in WWE, and Zack Ryder, like how you mentioned now, Matt Cardona, he wasn't as of a bigger star, but he made his name on the independent scene. Do you feel like with Dolph Ziggler now, and he's in TNA right now, do
Yeah.
you feel like Nick Minoff will try to create something outside of WWE and TNA to possibly come back and make a big splash?
I mean, well, I'm going to shout out to him because TNA is doing some really good things over there right now. I'm surprised about the whole Demore thing, but that's a whole nother
Yeah,
show. That's a whole
yeah.
nother show. I have a personal connection to Demore, but I'll tell that another day. But Nick Nemeth, I think it's the same thing with the name thing. I know
Mm,
we can't, but you talking about a guy who was Dolph Ziggler for years. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And he had
18
characters.
years.
He had characters before that did not connect with the fans. Dolph
Mm,
Ziggler did. Now you go over there and call him Nick Nemeth, and of course he tried to use it a little bit on the internet prior to that. I think he's going to help TNA, but I don't know if it's going to change the game either like that. Um, if I was him, I know he going to hear this. I would go the Naomi Trinity route. Go over to TNA, do your thing, become the champ, show them what you got. Now go back to WWE, kind of like Cody did, and say, "Well, you see what I really can do. I can take a promotion to a whole other world. Give me Dolph Ziggler back, but I want to own the name, and I want you to pay me dot dot dot, and go back to WWE because I think Dolph Ziggler's money for real. If it ain't New Japan Pro Wrestling, he can make money over there, but I think his money is the WWE. I don't think he's money in AEW. I don't think he's money in TNA. I think he can help TNA, but he's not a game changer in TNA. But
I,
like I
I
said,
agree.
New Japan Pro Wrestling or go back to WWE. then that's when he makes something happen.
Yeah, yeah. He made his appearance in New Japan a couple of weeks ago, which I think he's really helping TNA. I just don't want to see too many, which we already have seen. So many former WWE guys go over to AEW. Like, in a way, if that big business supposed to mean anything, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné going there. I just feel like a lot of the original AEW guys that at least that you first saw when they first came out is no longer around. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
let's replace everyone else with former WWE talent, and the only story that they have is that the fact that they were in WWE or they were
Oh
just a
my,
big name there. So it's not like we're building or creating anything with some guys. Like I said, uh, Adam Cole. I mean, Edge, who's going by Adam Copeland. He's just wrestling right now. He's not really doing anything,
yeah.
but we're gonna bring him in because why? Hey, people know the face, people bring the name, so we don't really gotta
And
tell a
then look
story or do anything.
and look what he did. Of course, just like you said. And then of course, soon as he gets there, you put him in a story with Christian. You could have built him around all them other people first. Then maybe he interacted with Christian. Now he's right back where he started at in WWE 15 years ago, but just doing it in AEW. That's just, and I hate to say this, but for your
Mm,
fans and listeners that are old enough to remember, that's where WCW started messing up at.
mm,
That is, they did the exact same thing. They start bringing in all them WWF guys. It was okay to get Hogan, Hall, and Nash, but once you get guys that was only second and third string there, come on, man. Now you just feel
yeah.
like you're watching WWE Light.
hmm Yeah, a lot of the guys were because WCW, had Ted Turner and the money, same as well as like Tony Khan and AEW with the money, and obviously, the guys are bringing in a lot of former guys, and then you had the NWO on top of that, with their creative control. So yeah, it definitely give me WCW vibes though, bringing in all the old names though, but. Would you feel like would be real good, for AEW with a big turnaround? Obviously, the great company. I didn't necessarily grow up watching a lot of WCW. I saw it towards the end of it, so I knew Goldberg, I knew Hulk Hogan, knew all of those guys like that. But yeah, what could you say that could, or what would you think that you feel like maybe AEW could do better to maybe not be a WCW 2.0 if they already not?
Well, kind of where we're going already. Stay the course with your homegrown dudes. I mean, MJF was doing work. MJF was doing
Mhm.
work, dog. I know the boy got hurt, but that boy was fire. But right now, they got the hottest guy, probably one of the hottest guys in wrestling. And I don't even know if they realize it. Swerve. Swerve, that package with him and Prince Nana, that is money, dog. That should be if I'm AEW, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm getting Swerve on every talk show that I can.
Yeah.
I'm putting Swerve in movies because I know people don't want to admit it. That's how you really gonna cross over and get that casual fan. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You get their face in front of other stuff. You need to have Swerve on everything. From I'm talking about talk shows to have Swerve on BET, have him on rap. You know what I'm saying? Anything because I mean he's a spitter too. He flow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he does.
But that's what I say. You don't have to worry about all them. Like I said, you got timeless Tony Storm. You got people that do work in that ring. Um,
Mm.
I do, and then you got people to get real on the mic as well. But like I said, don't lean on your old WWE guys as much. Rock with what you got. I can watch Heyman, Adam Page, and Swerve go at it all the time. I mean, that's work right there. That is work. You know, and AEW pay per views are still pretty good. But like I said, they got to connect. They got to keep connected, man.
Yeah, you're right. You definitely right. They definitely got to keep connecting. The pay-per-views are, decent. I just think some of them could be a little bit too long with a lot of, in between matches. Though,
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
but pay-per-views
Bro,
are definitely
I went
definitely.
to so I don't. What's your movie theater out there?
We got
Because we got the
AMC
AMC
and we
movie
got
theater.
Regals. Yeah, we got AMC and
Okay.
Regal cinemas.
So AMC shows AEW, well, they used to show AEW pay-per-views one time. I remember going in there at 5:30, dog, to watch the pay-per-view. I didn't get out of there till 1. There's no reason I should be sitting in a movie theater, that long watching the pay-per-view, dog. That was way too long, man.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, the pay per views do go a little longer. Like I said, it just a lot of in between matches, and I just be like, damn, a lot of filler matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely I definitely agree with you. My guy Brian said it before. Swerve Strickland is the guy. So I hope he become AEW's one of AEW's first black WWE champions. What's up, Gator? Appreciate you for tuning in as well. I had another question. I cannot think of it right now at the moment though. But the road to WrestleMania is heating up. Any particular stuff that you're looking for? We know maybe Brock Lesnar is not going to be around. But any other big matchups you looking forward to? Obviously at WrestleMania.
You know, that's actually a good question, man. I hope they do work in that Jay versus Jimmy Uso match. I think that could be big. But I actually said this when I was on the Survivor Series press conference that one thing WWE got going for them right now, and it looks like a problem, but it's actually a good thing. I've never seen this many people over at one time. They got a lot of stars, dog. So you can place people anywhere. I mean, even with Seth, let's say he go against Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre putting in work right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I like that Bayley versus Io Sky. I like the idea of maybe getting Jade and Bianca. I just think there's so many matches. WrestleMania can be really stacked, dog.
Yeah. Hey, WrestleMania is definitely going to be off the chain. I'm looking forward to all of it and see how it unfolds, especially with The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and also seeing what Jade, Cargill is going to do at WrestleMania and other stuff. So it's going to be fun. Definitely going to be fun. You mentioned, man, that your podcast, man, you got out right now. Man, tell everyone where they can catch some new episodes and definitely subscribe.
Yeah, man. Just put in the Whip Show, WHIPSHOW, the Whip Show podcast. We everywhere. Just like the Talk Pro Wrestle podcast on 11:30. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. And we actually got, like I said, not just my podcast where we do interviews. We talk about current subjects. We got other podcasts on the network as well. NXT with Najee. He goes from a first-person experience at NXT every Thursday. That drops. Got championship material with my boy, Mr. Joe Walker, the Word heavyweight champion. He kind of brings the fans' point of view about his thoughts on wrestling, man. So just check it out. And we got all types of new stuff coming up real soon.
Hey man, that's
you can also check us out. We on Roku also. We on Roku TV also. Just put in Mise TV, MISE, and we'll be starting on the radio as well very soon. We got a FM radio spot coming up soon.
Hey man, that's what's up, man. You got big things going on, man. I wish you nothing but the best, man. And I appreciate you and thank you for taking the time out your day to come on here and chat some pro wrestling, man. So all the Cody crybabies, man, chill out, man, and relax because The Rock gonna lay some SmackDown on the candy ass. Might smack one of them, Cody crybabies. Who knows?
Facts, dog.
Hey, once again, Whip Dog, man, appreciate you for tuning in, man, and being here on the podcast. Everyone, man, sit tight. I'm going to take a quick break and come back, wrap up the show. Don't move. You're listening and you're watching to the 11:30 podcast. Talk pro wrestling, you dig?
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
With unlimited DVR and personalized recommendations, YouTube TV is live TV reinvented for the 21st century.
I prefer some of the earlier centuries.
8 million hands sanitized. 1 million faces protected. 400,000 rail cars disinfected. We're humming right along, keeping you safe when you ride Metro.
All right, man. Yo, we back here on the 1130 podcast, man. Yo, shout out to my guy Desean Whip Dog Whipple, man, the host of the Whip Show podcast, for coming through here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Great time vibing with you. Great time having you on the show. It's been a minute, man. I remember, I think last time I had you on, man, I remember you and Gator. We did some. We had a great conversation, great connection, collab, man. So it was great. Shout out to my man Gator, who was in the chat on IG. Yo, appreciate you, man. The Hot Take Wrestling, thank you for joining in. Two Hawks, appreciate you, my guy. Man, thank you guys so much, man. We live here on IG, also Facebook. Facebook, X, and as well as Twitch, man. My little man is going, having fun in the background, man. Coming back from his doctor's appointment, so he slept on the ride home, so he got a ball of energy right now. But yo, appreciate my guy Brian B, my guy Devin, everyone, man, who tuned in and joined the chat, man. It was a great show of Talk Pro Wrestling, man. Talk Pro Wrestling will return next Friday, 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:15 p.m. Central. So definitely tune in and don't miss it, man. Yo, like my guy Whip Dog, like me and my guy Whip Dog was just talking about the whole press conference. I didn't see The Rock turning heel, but man, like, hey, him turning heel doesn't hurt anyone. So Michael Cole said it best, man. People were acting so weird and so, like, not gonna say weird, but people were just doing the most, especially in the wrestling community, before the match was even announced. And we just, all The Rock and Roman did was a stare down, and people just went crazy. People just was like, you know what, man? Oh, hell no, I can't do with this, man, for real. So I'm loving the way it's going, though. Roman does look like his little brother walking next to him, because The Rock is just so big, man, and doing all the workout movies. So I'm just so interested, intrigued to see where this goes, man. But SmackDown goes down in what, about an hour or so. So Triple H is supposed to be on SmackDown. Let's see what Triple H have to say regarding all of went down last night at the press conference. I agree with Whip Dog, man. That was really like a pep rally, or just a hype, just a hype WrestleMania up, though. Really not too many questions to be asked. But yo, enough talking of that, man. I'm just purely excited for WrestleMania 40, that's going down in several weeks, though. We got Elimination Chamber. So man, it's a great time to be alive in the wrestling, man, in the wrestling world, man. So appreciate it. Yo, Devin, appreciate you, my guy. Great show. Thank you. Once again, appreciate everyone tuning in here this week on Talk Pro Wrestling. Like I said, Talk Pro Wrestling will be back next Friday, episode 5 of Beyond 1130 next Thursday, and also the 1130 podcast show will return next month, March 6th, 7th, one of them. One of them. I get back to you. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms, here on Instagram. If you're watching on Instagram, share this Instagram live. Follow the 1130 podcast on TikTok as well, on Facebook, and definitely subscribe to the 1130 podcast here on YouTube. You guys like it, leave a comment, and tell a friend about the show. But you guys, until next time, I'm about to head on out of here. Desean Whip Dog, appreciate you for coming on. Until next time, you guys stay blessed, stay safe. Give all the glory to God, man. Won't he do it? Yo, I'm out, man. Peace.